cool-off ban will follow.
Really cool ban coming out from G2. We heard it from Sheepy last week during Coaches Week, where he said, I actually believe that Illaoi will be banned against us because of how well we can make it work. And here we go. He called it.
All right. And they banned the Gnar as well. You can see where the focus is on this G2 team.
Perks mentioned it. He did say it in the promo video very much about, hey, you know, we consider Chachi to be the big threat on the side of Unicorn, so let's try and shut him down, get him away from all these top carries. And let's not forget that Expect has been playing a lot of Gangplank recently. Interestingly, G2 have been shifting it around, so that could be another priority ban for Unicorns, or maybe they have some kind of answer for it.
Yeah, always possible. The Sivir's banned away now, so something we talked to Sven about some weeks back, actually, how that was just so heavily prioritized, and you just got to pick it up very quickly. Even if we've been seeing all the Karma first picks coming in, that's still a very valuable AD carry. I'm curious to see what they go on to next. Probably something like the Lucian, but that's still plenty of time away as G2 ticks down the final seconds on their last ban. What'll it be?
Well, looking at what's still available on the cards, unfortunately I did just see, so it will be an Elite. But left on the table,
no time to predict it.
There was no Bard ban for Hylissang, something that he is still undefeated on. Meanwhile, there are a bunch of other things left available. Things like the Karma is still up. Ash is available for Veritas. We know he puts a lot of value on that.
And they put a lot of value on him.
Yeah, and just looking across the board, things like the Braum, a specialty of Mythy, but then a bunch of junglers are available too.
Yeah, we really only saw 1-2 junglers really taken off the board, and the Rek'Sai, obviously, its stock starts to rise quite a lot with the Elise banned away. Nidalee is also available. That's something Move could get his hands on, but also Trick, who has a very aggressive jungling style. We saw, since he's joined the LCS, he's been very potent on that champion. He'll get his hands on it.
Yes, he will. So, likely response from Move will be the Rek'Sai, but he doesn't have to pick it up right now because they know that they're not going to take another jungler away, unless all of a sudden we see a return of Nidalee top and mid, which
that takes me back.
I do not expect, but there's always a possibility. So
yeah, I mean, well, when you've got a game, especially after the series we saw last time with all these different picks and bans coming in, it's really cool to see that things can be wide open. But I think it might be a stretch to say that Nidalee's going top lane.
Yep.
Unless they really want to take the Rek'Sai away from Move, maybe.
So Trundle could be something that Unicorns look to put a lot of value on. Because the Gnar is gone, there are very few picks that would effectively deal with the Trundle. But we do know that the Unicorns do value global pressure quite highly.
Yeah, and it's worked out a lot for them. So I think this Shen is a really good pickup for Chachi here, especially with some of his power picks banned away. But they also grabbed very, very contested Karma on their first rotation.
So they're going to be taking that away from Mythy. And considering that champions like the Ashe and Jhin are still up, when you put the Karma with them, she compensates for a lot of their weaknesses and the fact that they are these low mobility AD carries, and Karma provides very adequate peel to help out these AD carries from getting these sticky situations. You can still flex it. We've seen Exile bring out the Karma in the mid lane in the past. That does mean that the Bard is still available for Hylissang should he want to go that route. And to be honest, Bard Shen is a combo that we on the analyst desk have said many a time, you cannot afford to give to Unicorns of Love because they are just so good at executing it.
I'll see if G2 rue that decision to let it through. If the Bard does become an option, the Ashe is picked up by Sven now, and they lock the Trundle themselves, and we expect that to be going to top lane.
Oh yeah, definitely an answer to the Shen. Not really an interesting matchup, unfortunately. Very much just two tanks passing in the wind as they slowly farm up and gradually reach those late game points where they can become these big powerful split pushers.
Whoa.
That is locked in.
Veritas has got that look on his face. It's like, yeah. Oh, I like this.
That is an Urgot. I was not expecting that at all, Pyra. No recent changes. No recent item changes.
We got to go back to like the beginning of, I think it was like spring 2015 when we saw Urgot back in, it may be a little while ago, a little while before that, but it was an AD carry. Remember, it's like the anti-AD carry. Oh man, this is interesting. The gauntlet's been thrown down.
Oh my word. So this is going to be so cool. I've never cast an Urgot game in my entire professional career.
Oh, this is great. Everyone is happy with this decision.
So, I mean,
all right, and there's, okay,
what a crazy... This could still be mid.
Yeah,
let's not forget
that's true. That's very true. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I also want to talk about, the
but
Tom
it's not
Kench
mid. It's
that's
not
locked in for Mythy. And they got the Niv. I mean,
all right,
okay.
so let's just break down these compositions.
Please,
very
you
quickly.
take it away.
We've got the Malzahar here for perks. He's going to be basically on wave clear 2, we saw it earlier on in the day from HDK. Yes, it did go top, but the principles are still the same. We can talk more about the matchup when we actually get into game, but it's very much about large in utility, large in mid to late game DPS. Ashe is the same. The point of the Tahm Kench is to provide single target peel. We know how devastating Urgot can be when he lands that poison and he's just firing spike after spike after spike, and Tahm Kench will be a great way of just peeling off for whoever needs that peel, and also he's going to act as another front line alongside Expect. Meanwhile, on the other side of the Rift, I don't even know how to describe their composition. There's zone control, there's a lot of poke, there's a lot of damage, they've got engage, disengage, split push, all kinds of interesting stuff that I cannot wait to explore when we get more into game.
It's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be chaos.
It's G2 versus UOL.
G2 versus Unicorns as the coaches shake hands walking off the stage. Who do you think's going to take this one away? What an interesting set of compositions. Will the league leaders snag game number 1, hashtag G2 win, if you agree? Or will the Unicorns of Love come up with some sneaky tricks up their sleeves? Hashtag UOL win. Oh, I can't wait to get into this one. Let's just load onto the Rift.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Urgot has returned to competitive play. And now I have to remind myself of what he does, Pyra. Because it has been such a long time since we have seen this.
Oh, yeah.
Really
G2.
interesting. So
G2 are going to bank on the fact that they can definitely power down Unicorns. I mean, a lot of power picks were given away, a lot of conventional ones.
yes, especially this Nidalee can be so monumental in setting up an early game lead, especially against the Hecarim, who can't as effectively trade in the early game. But I mean, where do we start, Pyro? There are so many things to talk about. Where would you like to start?
Well, I mean, let's ignore the giant enemy crab in the room and not talk about Urgot just yet. I want to actually talk a little bit about the Anivia into Malzahar, because that's not a matchup I see as much.
All right, so let's start with the mid lane, my forte. So this
see what I did? See how I set you up there?
So the matchup in particular is actually really interesting because early game, there is, remember that Malzahar has this window that you can take advantage of. Unfortunately for Anivia, she also has a 1 to 5 window that she can have taken advantage of. And when you compare their early game pushing potential, Malzahar just comes out ahead because he can use those Voidlings, he can use that Malefic Vision, and while its wave clear power isn't as strong during the 1 to 5 mark, against an Anivia who has no pushing potential because she only has her Q for wave clear and pretty much her E and basic attacks, there's very little that she's going to be able to do against the Mal. So this matchup in particular will be very slow, will be very farm heavy, and the risk of an all-in is very, very low. The big thing that you have to be aware of if you're a Malzahar is the wall coming out from Anivia, because a low mobility mage that gets hit up by a wall is very susceptible to move coming in from a flank and you end up getting locked down. So other than that, unfortunately, it's just 2 control mages farming in the mid waiting for the late game.
Well, I'll take a look at the masteries as well. I want to say standard stuff, but maybe not as so much with all the picks. Mithy and Sven take a lot of damage. As Veritas and Hill is saying, we're waiting the brush. We might have an early first blood. Look how low Mithy's going.
God, no.
Instant exhaust. Heals are flying. That's first blood to the Urgot.
Unicorns start off so strong.
Woohoo! And so does Sven.
Sven instantly returns it down onto Veritas. My word, you can see
Oh, Veritas
how
thought he
much
got away
this
with
has
it too.
affected them.
What is even this game?
Oh my god. So
Okay, and now down on bot, Expect is going to find Chachi with the level 2 here. Or rather, Chachi finds him with the taunt.
all right, let's get a replay. Let's see how that all broke down, because I was not expecting that to happen, Pyra.
I don't think anybody, they're like, okay, we're just going to fight it. Oh, wait.
There's definitely the level 2 spike. I'm aware of that happening, and Urgot, once we got to that matchup, I was going to talk about how, you have to be careful of the level 2. But the action might not even be over yet. As Hillsang hanging around Mithy.
Hillsang has the level 2 to Mithy's 1, by the way. Sven had level 2. Veritas still on 1. Yeah, let's take a look at that first blood again.
So Mithy and Sven walk out. Mithy takes a lot of damage. Eating a lot of poke from Veritas is a good start. At this point, you just back away. But Mithy, he's walking up. He's trying to get the acquired taste stacks off. Completely disrespects the damage and ends up paying for it. And then Veritas, he gets a little bit greedy. He thinks that he can keep going, doesn't respect the chase from Sven. He gets the flash auto, and he gets a return kill. So that's actually not a bad start from G2, especially with the lane pushing now towards them. They're not going to lose much. And nice little gobble there from Mithy to avoid the damage.
Yeah, they still pushed a pretty heavy wave into this one, but I think the really big thing to talk about this game is just just to refresh ourselves on the Urgot, because it has been so long since we've actually seen this in action, what is it going to bring here for Unicorns in this laning phase, aside from some sneaky cheese?
An obnoxious time is the best way to describe it, because he's going to throw the poison down onto you. He's going to hit you with his Q. Now in a second, it's Chachi. He's going to eat the spear. Trade back with Shrek.
Fight him, there we go.
Nicely done. But yeah, moving back to this duo lane. Ooh, Mithy actually going to gobble up Hylissang.
Yeah, he does, and will he have enough damage to finish the job? No, the flash there, the flash follow. Mithy is on the chase, and he tongues him to death.
They realized that Veritas only being level 2, he had no mana, no summoner spells, and Mithy just took advantage of the fact that he could punish the overextended Hylissang. Really well played from G2, demonstrating their understanding of the lane and punishing the weakness of Veritas, just burning through all of his cells very early on.
All right. As we get a very slight break in the craziness that has been this game, I'm just getting word that Urgot, the last time he's played in EU, by the way, was 2015 summer. That was Audrey.
2015 summer.
Yeah, that was patch 5.12. That's like a full, that is more than a full number of patches ago.
Yeah, ages ago.
By math. I did math there, by the way, just so you know. It was played a little bit more recently in NA, but still, like, that's, we have not seen Urgot here in a while.
So I just want to look at the goal of the Urgot in the composition, because when you draft something like an Urgot, it's not purely for the laning phase. I mean, yes, he has a strong laning phase. Yes, it's very easy to punish the Ashe. What you've got to remember is, a while back, is he actually had a couple changes to his ultimate. So now when he swaps, he now actually fears the targets around him when he arrives. And
I would be scared too if a giant crab popped up.
I know, right? And this is something that makes it much easier for him to actually set up that play, because he's not in as much danger as he was in the past, and you can quickly target out that individual. Now, splitting Sven away from the rest of his team will make it so much easier to kill him against Mithy, but the problem is the channel time is so long that Mithy should be able to save him in that nick of time. So the fact that this Urgot came out when it did, perhaps a little bit preemptively, because G2, they didn't panic, they responded adequately, and I think this Tahm Kench will prove to be very difficult for that Urgot to really punish the Ashe against.
Yeah, and you can already see Sven is massively out farming Veritas right now, so it's kind of a little bit rough for the Urgot. He's going to need some time before he can stack that tier and scale up into a late game threat. I just think it's really interesting, yeah, that you can deny so much damage. I like that this game, there's a suppression on each side.
There is indeed
you don't
a suppression.
see that very often.
No, that. Yeah, both Urgot and Malzahar will just stand there while they do damage.
What happens if Malzahar ults Urgot as Urgot ults Malzahar? I know, that's like an impossible question. Nobody knows the answer.
That's almost like, you know, the whole unstoppable force and movable object question. They both move, Pyra.
Okay, good. I'm glad you were able to answer that.
Well, perhaps we'll get that hilarious interaction in this game.
Okay, let's just take a quick look at the. Oh, Perks has actually stopped up in the wall. Okay, never mind. He stopped on the other side.
So because
let's take a look at how the CS is actually different this game, because it has kind of fluctuated pretty wildly.
Yeah. So the wave was actually pushing towards Veritas, and now that Sven has gone back, he's able to close the gold gap or the CS gap a little bit more. And now G2 have said, okay, we've had enough of this. The fun has ended. Let's avoid this 2 versus 2. Let's return back to the lane swap mode that we are so proficient in. And you can see now Mithy and Sven moving around to the bottom half of the map. They're also going to use Expect to help set up the siege. Chachi going to teleport to the top half, and we're now going to see what is the lane swap. This is initially what G2 wanted. They didn't want the chaos from before, but they got it anyway.
I mean, you just can't stop the Unicorns sometimes doing what they want, but this tower will be traded back and forth. Unicorns are a little bit faster because they had the wave there a little quicker, but it's all going to go down equaling in the end. And G2 are actually going to keep pushing. So are UOL. We might see tier 2s traded.
Well, notice that Move is also in the top half of G2's jungle, so they will have a numbers advantage should they go for this. But right now the priority for G2 is to just push the minion wave underneath the turret so that it then bounces back. Expect is actually going to be the one to go up to the top lane to try and get some of the farm back. And G2, they're going to respond by saying, okay, we're going to stop you dead in your tracks. You're not going to push down to this tier 2. So both the minion waves will now push back towards the opposing side of the map. And that's likely going to be for the top laners to then soak up and collect some of that farm back.
Sven's got a lot of damage on this turret, though, because while everything was happening with the pushback, he was able to just freely poke away with arrows.
They kept him there. They decided not to send him back. He didn't need to go. They chose to spend Expect. He will perhaps struggle a little bit on farm, but right now things looking pretty even.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting dynamic. Like the change-up coming out from G2, but overall it's not going to result in any serious game. So now we need to move and see how this lane swap transitions itself come the mid stages.
It'll definitely be some time before we get into that, but you know, the later swap, the towers traded, that's about the most standard thing we can say about this game because it has been all sorts of crazy. First dragon on the map is going to be the Ocean, still solid for this period of the game, and it looks like Move and Hylissang are going to take the incentive right now. Trick is around, but he's isolated.
Certainly is. He's just going to prioritize his farm for the time being. Ocean Drake will go down to Unicorns. Will help out with their laning phase a little bit, but because we have the lane swap, it's not going to result in that much.
Back once again. Ooh, Trick is hanging around. Can he get steal off? He gets
here
really
we go.
low, and he takes him down. He can get the smite off as soon as he wants it, but he's not quite in time. He's going to have to instead auto, flashing the wall. Trick just outplayed.
That was so good from Trick. He lands the spear onto Move, realizes that he has been tanking up the dragon for way too long. Move doesn't expect it because he doesn't have vision over the wall. That results in Trick jumping over that said wall, quickly gets deleted, and then he transitions that into taking himself the Drake. This is massive for G2.
And he did all that without smite.
Really impressive stuff.
Holy moly, okay.
Action continues in the top lane.
Chachi and Expect are going to have a go at each other here. Chachi realizes he can't take it, has to flash, but in comes Trick. This looks like it should be a foregone conclusion as Trick picks up his second kill of the game.
He's just cleaning up all over the map right now. He noticed that Chachi was hanging around. He had a red buff, and Trick said, hey, I'm going to take that. So he then goes and does it. Picks himself up another kill, as you rightly said. 2-0-0 on the board, already completed his upgraded jungle item. And my word, this early game just seems to be going from good to better for G2.
After what looked like a stumbling block in the opening minutes, after getting the lane swap sniffed out, they've really turned the tide for themselves. Unicorn's down 1,000 gold. Let's take a look at this dragon steal again. If you can even call it a steal, he just owned it.
He had the ward, the spear lands, Ocean Drake.
Game of chicken. I love it.
Way too much damage for Move to handle. And notice that Trick even waited for the second proc of Hylissang's Mantra Q to ensure that that dragon would not get stolen away.
Very, very well played by them. And the game calms for just a little bit as Unicorn's disappointed with how that all worked out. G2, though, they can be very happy that they have righted the chaos of the early game. But we are going to be seeing once more pushing on the top side as Unicorns send 3 members there, and Expect is calling for help.
So what this means for the game now is that Nidalee has had the good early game. This is what Nidalee wants, because her biggest spike is really during the 0 to 20, 25, even 30 minute mark, where she can take advantage of the fact that she's really good at skirmishing, really good at trading. And while Unicorns are setting up for this Rift Herald, look at this, G2 want to answer.
Uh-oh, Exile was caught by the tether. It's going to be Move going way lower. This one has to charge and bail out, and the Rift Herald's even helping out right now. Unicorns are panicked, they're spooked in the back. Mithy is going to get some chomp off, and the Unicorns are starting to fall piece by bloody piece. Chachi is next on the menu. Double kill for the kitty cat, and they even get the crab.
G2 force the fight at the Rift Herald, and they come out on top. Complete confidence in the play that would make it work for them, and this Urgot is not working out the way Unicorns wanted it to. 4 kills for 0, Rift Herald picked up, and G2 are using this early game advantage to swing that gold lead ever so further in their favor.
13 minutes have elapsed in this game, and the gold lead's already going out of control. 4,000 ahead, Veritas. They've got the Ocean Dragon that they were able to just grab away on top of a kill from Unicorns. They get the Rift Herald. They're getting everything on this map right now. The towers might be even, but that's not going to last long.
So have a look at the setup. Exile in a position to try and stop it. Perks just blindly throws out the Q in case someone's in there. Exile doesn't react in time. The flank from Expect as well. Veritas tries to get Trek into the rest of his team, but the rest of his team are already on the retreat. Mithy's being on the front line, just sticking to those targets. He doesn't even care about providing peel. And then the rest of G2 just follow up with the cleanup. Very well played fight. Bit chaotic because it was just a full 5-on-5 very early on into the game. But with such a big gold swing going in the favor of G2 and an arrow in the mid.
It's going to find Exile. Perks is looking for it. Do they have enough damage to finish the job? They're looking like they might. And he gets egged. Chachi comes in around the backhand. The Unicorns turn this fight around. Hylissang is going to be evaporated. Nether Grasp again. And G2 just roll on over the Unicorns.
G2 are continuing with their relentless aggression. Another 2 kills going in their favor in the mid. They're now likely going to take this tier 1 turret and expect he's sitting on the side lane still doing work.
Finishing the job that Sven started all those minutes ago, and it's only been 14, 10-1 in kills. Chachi taking a huge spear. Trick is chasing on as he's taunted. It doesn't matter. And expects around the backside. What the hell is going on?
G2, they want to say, hey, we'll take your Urgot and raise it. A tier 1 in tower at 14 minutes into the game. They have 12 kills on the board, and they are just shutting down the Unicorns.
Oh, G2, sometimes it looks like they need a warm-up against some opponents, but against the Unicorns, not the case. A couple of minutes was all it took for them to get out to a flying lead, and this is turning into a regular stomp.
This is just a bloodbath right now. This was not what I was expecting, and if anything, I was expecting it to come out from the Unicorns, but Trick, a lot of this came off the back of those very 2 quick kills that he got, because we were talking about how Nidalee thrives in this early game environment where there are so many skirmishes, so many opportunities for her to use her early game prowess to snowball a lead, and that's exactly what they did. UOL tried to force a fight around the Rift Tower, they got punished for it. Trick now level 11 on this Nidalee.
To the 9 of move. This is why you can't give this guy Nidalee. It gets banned against them for good reason. Obviously, it's a strong jungle pick in general, but in his hands, he makes some seriously good work out of it. Let's see this spear fly onto what looks like a tanky Chachi. I don't think so.
I mean, he's already picked himself up the needlessly large rod at 13 minutes into the game.
You're gotta be kidding me.
He's not afraid of going for the dive. Rylai's finished at 16 minutes, along with the jungle item. He is so fed. He is sitting at... He has the highest gold in the game.
Yeah.
Bahound, look at Perks. Is he now past the danger zone?
I don't know about that. We'll have to find out. Exile moving up to the top. Perks is a little bit low, but
He
they are
gets a
getting some
kill.
help from Expect. He manages to pick up Veritas. Hylissang, Malefic Visions, the shutdown will finally finish off Perks, but not before this fight gets even bloodier. Expect, though, can't finish the job. That's 2 picked up by Exile.
Now, Mithy has joined the fray.
Round
Arrow
2
comes in, but it doesn't land.
Oh, that won't be a fight there.
So G2 just going to disengage. Expect does try to TP in to help out his teammate. Valiant effort, but I feel like they should have just accepted the fact that Perks drew all 5 members to the top side, resulted in G2 getting a free Cloud Drake in the bottom half of the map, which then transitioned into, unfortunately for G2, giving away 2 kills. So look at this, all in onto Veritas. Initially he doesn't take much damage, but then the Voidlings just go to town on him once all of them had spawned up. And at this point you just disengage, you back off. There's nothing else for you to go for. But then with the flank from Exile, all 5 members. Yeah, he is very lucky.
I mean, Unicorns managed to get a little bit back, but this was started because G2, a rare mistake you can say, because they just weren't quite able to react in time. They still got a kill out of it.
I wouldn't even call it a mistake, because Perks, he was largely just trying to get himself a pick and just draw pressure to the top half, which meant that G2 were then free to set up plays somewhere else on the map. It was just unfortunate that Expect tried to help him out thinking they could go for the 2v5, and unfortunately they're just not that fit.
Unicorns, full spiral, out of control right now. Trying to gain some ground back, but I mean, this game has gone from bad to worse from them.
So this Urgot is pretty much useless now, because he's really good in the early game. He also is likely going to go for the build of Black Cleaver and Ghost Blades, like we see on Lucian's, where they have a big mid-game spike.
Still stacking his tier though, but he's crying a lot more than that.
Because of how hard he fell behind in the early game, it's just descended into madness. And G2, 18 minutes in, going to knock down the final tier 2 turret. And I mean, look at Sven. Finished his Essence Reaver, working towards a rapid fire. Morello done for Perks. I mean, everything going in the way of G2 right now.
Yeah.
This is the dominant G2 that we were expecting.
This is what we, maybe not to this exact level and not with these picks, but yeah, Unicorns have to take a step back and reevaluate their picks and bans, not just with the champ choices, because I think something like this can work in their hands, but in giving so many things away. The Nidalee, the Malzahar, the Ashe. I mean, G2 like ran rampant with this.
I think the Nidalee was the big thing really here, because not only is it one of Trick's comfort picks, but he just plays it really well. And it was unfortunate that Move got spotted out, but it was almost like Trick said to himself, oh, okay, they're going to do Dragon, I'm going to walk over and I will steal it. It's like he planned it out all along.
But then he got a kill on top.
And then he got a kill on top. Just unbelievable.
By the way, this is like, it's kind of fun that he's had like 3 more Nidalee games to split. They've won most of them, obviously, but he actually has like, he's averaging like a KDA of 10 on Nidalee. It's exactly what he has right now. This is fantastic.
And
statistical accuracy, Fedius.
And I have to give praise to Mithy as well, bringing out the Tom Kench, even after the changes. Debate as to whether or not it was a strong pick moving forward, but
it has been a comfortable thing for him.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We saw it come out from him early on in the split, and against something like an Anivia and a Shen, a lot of single target crowd control, it works very well, providing peel for your key targets.
Not to mention, I mean, that fight over at the Rift Herald was enabled by the shortened duration.
Yes,
of his Abyssal Voyage. Like that's a big thing. And he solo went in himself and was like, I can tongue lash 2 people to death, and he did. As a support, Baron's now hit the Rift. After a day like today, anything is possible. G2 running the table right now on the Unicorns as Move is able to try and smite away a red. Doesn't quite get it in time. It goes over to Trick.
So now G2, with their lead, could actually force a fight around the Baron. They don't necessarily have to commit to it, but because they have a Mal's, they could. And with Expect now hitting a point where Shen cannot deal with him, they can leave him in a side lane, he can stop the Shen from joining in, and then the G2 can just have this 4 versus 4. And look at how aggressively Trick is playing. He's just extending the vision deeper and deeper so that Unicorns are spotted out immediately once G2 start to go for this Baron play.
Yeah. Unicorns know that it's just going to be so hard to get back into this. They're trying to get as much power as they possibly can. I mean, look at Move's build. That's all it says. He doesn't even have his jungle item.
And look at this. The Baron started off. This is going to go down so quickly.
Oh, yeah. There's no way to stop this right now. They can spot it. The Ash Arrow for insurance will slow down Hylissang. It's down to 2,000. In goes Move. He can't quite get it, though. It's smited away by Trick, and he gives his life. Reckless charge into the pit. Does not pay off.
Valiant effort from Move. It looked promising, but Trick, he knows how to smite that Baron. Enough steals happened last week that he wasn't going to allow anything like that to happen this week. Secures the Baron, already a big power play on the board. And now G2 have everything they need to close out the game. You can set up the 1-3-1, put Perks up in the top lane, or you can just go for the 4-1 if you want it.
Not everything, Vedius. You know what they're missing? A Cloud Drake. 30 seconds and they can get it.
Well, while it would definitely be a nice thing to have, I don't think it's necessarily an importance right now. It will enable you to rotate around to the different lanes. Remember that you're going to be moving 2 seconds faster than if you did not have that Drake. So you can actually get the advantage over Unicorns of Love in terms of swapping to top and to bot and to mid.
Yeah. If the levels didn't already give you a decent bit of advantage as well. I mean, the items are just night and day difference. Mithy does step a little too far forward, has to burn his flash. No need to use the gray health just yet, though. We'll start regenning a little bit of that, or most of that, I should say. And G2 are starting to close this game shut. 4-1 mid to top. Hard to deal with Perks, let alone the rest of this team. And, yeah, the Dragon was kind of solo there. Exile's caught up for a second by the Ash Arrow, but he's able to flash away. Shachi going in. Looks like it was a mistake, but he will not fall just yet.
Notice Perks, he's sitting in the top lane still. Move indecisive as to where he should be providing support. But Perks is just slowly wearing down this turret. Going for a very early Mikhails is actually helping him. Mikhails, sorry. Not the Mikhails. The Mask of Death.
Nothing makes sense
Leandries,
anymore.
That's the words, Leandries.
Jesus. Vedius, this game is so ridiculously one-sided for G2 right now. And the Unicorns, like, it seems like they just don't know where they even want to focus their attention. You have to start just thinking about the next game.
I mean, at this point, you feel you have to. The early game really went horribly wrong.
After that really awesome level 1,
I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but Trick really did snowball after beating on a dead horse.
Yes, he did, Vedius. All right, G2.
You're at least a little proud of me, at least.
I mean, like a small part of me was like, why didn't I think of that? And then the 99% of me is like, ugh. All right, so there's a big old Baron power play, 3,500, but it's still only 23 minutes into this game, and it's just been ridiculous how it's all shaken out. Trick You cannot allow this guy to get in Italy. Unicorns really have to mix that up for this next game.
But let's see if G2 can close this one out first, because we've
have lost a
seen
number
many
of first
comebacks.
games.
Yeah, we did see G2 against Vitality, 1 hit away from closing it out. So with this sort of goal difference and this early on into the game, I expect it, but here we go.
Ooh, tower's gonna fall. Okay, expect was a little bit hard pressed there. He does get taunted up by Chachi, but Move is stopped, having to ult out to safety. Chachi getting fired down here, and the Nexus is soon to be after. Veritas can only just land a couple of corrosive charges, not enough to deter G2, and they work their way like clockwork down to the bottom lane. One tower will fall, an inhibitor follows right after. 25 minutes is what we're approaching, and that looks to be the end of the game.
That is all 3 inhibitors down. Now all they need is a Nexus as G2 take a lot of damage.
Yeah, but it's mostly on Mythy. He's got the great health, even if he needs it. Flash is flying for Unicorns, just trying to deathball their way to getting one off their back. Maybe Hylissang flashing out. The Unicorns are still alive here, but Move is close to death, and so is Hylissang. G2 don't want to push it any farther, but they have a lot of gold to spend.
They have too much damage taken. They don't have the mana, and they're just going to have to deal with the fact that, we could only get 3 inhibitors. So I think G2...
Don't you just hate it when you can only get 3 inhibitors?
Yeah, it's a real nightmare. Happens to me all the time. Joke. Ocean Drake going to be picked up for G2 as a parting gift.
Thanks for that clarification.
So they're going to go back, buy, and then likely coast. Interesting, Trick actually picked himself up an Athene. So he said, hey, I've done enough carrying. I'm going to help support out my team.
He's going to lay back and take a drink. Why not?
Yeah.
All right, so the Unicorns have a few minutes left of life. But with all that nice gold spent and another Dragon picked up, another Ocean Drake for G2 to give them all the regen and sustain they could possibly need to end this game, Perkz is definitely having a good time. Pauses for a quick dance-off with himself before they march in the mid lane. The rest of the team short to follow behind.
All they need to do now is use the super minions to their advantage. They have all 3 waves pushing in. Eventually, Unicorns aren't going to have the wave clear. Yes, there's an Anivia, but against that many super minions, there's only so much you can do. We'll have to see, because Unicorns, they are resilient. They are holding the line for now. Let's see how G2 can close this one out.
Super minions in all 3 lanes right now. It's gone to the base in the bottom and the mid. G2 are just waiting, chucking as much as they can at those towers, but not giving an opening to Unicorns. Hylissang taking a lot of stray damage here, and focus fire onto one inhibitor, but in comes Move. He's not able to find an opening, and G2 go right back at it when they know the cooldowns are there, and they nether grasp onto Hylissang. He's down! Sven just like that on the spree, but Expect is caught before he's eaten by Mythy, out of harm's way. Exile, though, is going to fall. Mythy will finish the job. 1 Nexus turret, a 2nd Nexus turret, and it's all they needed. 26.5 minutes. G2 Esports with a fantastic victory. Game number 1.
Clean game.